April 5, 2016, in San Francisco, California. We know the fate of one of them, but not the other. During November 2015, Nicole needed to move out of her apartment, so she started working overtime and overnight shifts to save up for a deposit for a new place. Nicole was forced to crash on friends' sofas during the week and commute 2 hours to work at Best Buy in San Francisco. So she left Ariana with a babysitter, Helena Martin, or her sister, Ciolo Hearn, in an attempt to give her daughter some stability. Nicole trusted the sisters, and they had an informal babysitting/foster care arrangement, which came to an end when Nicole's co-worker, Goyette Williams, invited her and Ariana to move into her apartment. This new place was close to Nicole's work, but miles away from Helena and Ciolo, and they were reluctant to return the toddler. Nicole contacted them in mid-March, ready to pick up Ariana. She was unpleasantly surprised to find the sisters had taken her daughter to Disneyland without her permission. By this point, Nicole was keen to have her daughter back in her care. On the night of April 1, 2016, Nicole took out $600 from an ATM and told Goyette, quote, "I have to meet my babysitter. She's over at some restaurant on 3rd Street. She's upset. I need to go see if she's okay." Nicole said she would return in 5 minutes, but Williams woke up the next morning to an empty house and a text from Nicole saying she was driving to Fresno with a friend named Sam. Goyette was confused because Nicole had never mentioned a friend called Sam. She asked for more details, but Nicole never answered. Then, at 1:13 a.m. on April 2nd, someone posted on Nicole's Facebook, "Spending time with my 3-year-old. Need this break." Break was spelled B-R-A-K-E. Ariana was 2.5, not 3, and friends say that neither of these are mistakes Nicole would make. Nicole didn't return home and never showed up for work. By April 5th, her friends and family were extremely worried and contacted police. Nicole's younger sister, Tess, suspected the sisters immediately. She thought they had compelled Nicole to withdraw the $600. She elaborated, quote, "I wouldn't have been surprised if they were like, 'Give us the money you owe us and we'll bring you your kid.'" Tess had also noted that many people were commenting on the missing post about Nikki and Ariana, and not once did they, referring to the sisters. Tess and Nicole's friend Claire actually drove to Helena and Ciolo's house in unsuccessful attempts to find them. But after a week of this, on April 8th, they received the worst news. Nicole's body was discovered in a shallow grave in John McLaren Park, curled up in a fetal position and covered with a piece of plywood. Commander Greg McEachern said, quote, "The plywood has markings on it. We hope someone will recognize. It is our belief that the person brought the board with them." Ariana was still missing, and now police suspicion fell on Ciolo and Helena, especially when they discovered that Helena had served 6 years in jail for killing the father of her children back in 2001. The San Francisco police told the media the sisters were uncooperative in the investigation and provided inconsistent statements. The SFPD searched 3 residences belonging to the Hearn family and seized over 30,000 pieces of evidence, but still found no sign of Ariana. A month after Nicole's body was found, there had yet to be any arrests, so her former employer, Best Buy, put up a $10,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Ariana. Sadly, the years have passed and that reward is untouched. Ariana, who would now be 5 years old, remains missing, and her mother's murder remains unsolved. The suspected sisters have never been prosecuted. They still live in the Bay Area and reject all media requests for interviews. But Nicole's friends and family keep the search alive for Ariana on social media. They vow to never stop hunting for Ariana now that her mom is no longer here to look out for her. This case is more elusive than the others, in large part due to the victim's uncommunicative nature. 25-year-old Taryn Olson Carlisle was known to go off the grid, but would always check in via occasional text messages from third-party phones to wish happy birthdays and happy holidays. He was reported missing to Las Vegas police on March 2, 2017, and since then, no one has heard anything from him, nor has there been any activity on his bank account. On the day Taryn went missing, police obtained surveillance video from a business in the 3900 block of South Buffalo Drive, near Flamingo Road. The video shows two men arriving in a black SUV. They casually exit the vehicle, and one of the men moves toward the back of the car and retrieves a bag. He strolls through the parking lot towards a large metal trash container and then dumps this bag. Nothing suspicious there until police retrieved the bag and found clothing inside containing Taryn Olson Carlisle's blood and a pair of rubber gloves. Investigators want to identify and interview the men in the video because they most likely have information and may know what happened. But unfortunately, they have never come forward. At first, detectives were hesitant to share the surveillance video in case Olson Carlisle simply didn't want to speak with his loved ones. But the more time went by with no word from him, the more investigators suspected the worst. Metro Lieutenant Dan McGrath said, "Nobody's heard from him at all, which is very unusual." Taryn's silence, plus this worrying video, persuaded investigators to pass the case on to the LVMPD homicide section. It is sobering to know that even in this digital age, where surveillance cameras track our every move and GPS systems are built into so much domestic technology,